every member we have is also an owner and is also using the goods and services of that particular co-op. And oftentimes those goods and services are a critical part of that individual owner's life, personal life, whether it's a business life, whether it's meeting a family need of some sort. So they're very important issues, and that you need to find a way to set it up and to be successful at that. Before we mentioned that it's only natural that individual members may look upon a director as having special benefits because they're a director of the co-op. You're one of the leaders of our co-op, so you naturally get all kinds of discounts, don't you? You get free goods and services. They just deal with you in a whole different level than you do the rest of the members. It's really incumbent upon the director to inform the member owner, no, we don't. You know, we are a customer outside of the boardroom. The only time we're really a director and have the authority of being a board member is inside the boardroom while it's going on. Outside of that, we have to pay our bills. We get the same pricing sheet that you do. You know, everything is exactly the same. And by the way, I wouldn't want to ask for any special favors because that would taint my image of how I decide and put forward the decision to co-op. While we're also talking about this leadership, there are various levels of director liability.
Right.
And if you've got a co-op, if you've got a working board, then the liability is the same that you would have as a member owner. You know, because if you've hired somebody, you know, the goal of any member is to do what's good for the co-op. As a liability, if the decisions that you make are prudent, they're rational, and you think through those particular issues, then there's little direct liability, but also understand that any member or any customer or anybody in our society today can be sued for pretty much any reason at any time. So to think that you're never going to get sued or you're never going to be litigated in your role as being on the board of directors, I think is kind of poppycock. It's kind of fantasy world to think that you're not going to be there. The important thing is, have you gone through a process? Have you vetted the issues? Have you given your member owners or other people a chance to voice their opinion? Have you, as a board, discussed it thoroughly? You know, if someone has a conflict of interest and that person is sitting in the boardroom influencing the decision, then the board chairman or someone on the board needs to say, hey, this individual can influence the decision and they benefit from this decision. They need to really excuse themselves from the boardroom, you know, and then we'll decide as a board without them here. So recusing yourself from a board of a co-op is an important piece of that process. They talked about 4 different areas of risk. You know, one is the pricing risk of your co-op. What's the price if you're buying and selling goods and services? Is there a chance that those prices of those products that you're buying and selling may change over time? You know, there's also the liability of ownership risk. You've got a big target on your back. If there's a breaking story or a director or an employee of the co-op is viewed badly or makes some poor decisions, you know, then you have a liability of managing the image of your particular co-op. There's obviously property and casualty issues. If you own assets, those assets can be broken, can go away. Storms and stuff can certainly hurt or damage those goods and services, and how you push forward, how you manage those types of risks are very important. But as a co-op board member, it's important that you look through what are the potential risks that we have, and are we mitigating those risks as best we can. Some areas of risk we just can't control, and in those things we just have to recognize that we're willing to accept those risks and move forward.